think we're live. Could. Uh, isn't there an intro, right? There's an intro or something? There should be an intro. All right, maybe there's no intro. All right, I guess we're not having an intro tonight. That's totally fine. All right, well, welcome everybody. Bring It is back on the air after a little hiatus. I'm your host, the Big Dog. It's kind of nice to be back. It took a little hiatus from this, but now we're doing this again. And I've got my man, the coach, Victor, from all the way in Texas. What's up, Coach? How you doing tonight?
What's up, man? Everything good. Everything's good.
Yes, everything is good, man. It was a crazy weekend in the NFL. We had a couple of big baseball games over the weekend, getting down to the wild card, which we're going to talk about later. But right now, we got Monday Night Football tonight, kicking off in about 10 minutes. We got the 3-0 Las Vegas Raiders at the 2-1 Los Angeles Chargers. Everyone's saying how this game is going to be mostly a Raiders crowd because the Chargers haven't really drawn much in LA since they moved there. So coach, the Raiders have kind of squeaked a couple of victories by. They beat the Steelers, who are terrible, as we know. Where are you at with this game? We'll just preview this game a little bit before kickoff.
Um, like you said earlier, it's two of the games they really should have lost, but they won. I mean, sometimes when you to go 3-0 or have to win a game, you got to have a little look on your side.
Right.
I right now my pick, I like the Chargers. One because the Raiders is a lot of is pass happy. I think Jacob is playing tonight. But he's not gonna really run the ball. They like
Mm-hmm.
to throw it 30, 40 times a game. And I think that'll play in the Chargers' hand because they're more of a balanced team, which they can throw it short, they can throw it deep, but they also run the ball. Their defense, if they play like they played last week, forced a lot of turnovers.
Well, I know San Diego's not they're not as prone to turnovers as some of the teams that they played, this season so far. But both teams' defenses have let up only 20 points a game this season so far. So they're pretty decent defenses. So you could kind of balance that out. I mean, the key for me is, as you said, Jacobs for the Raiders and of course Darren Waller, they're a huge tight end. I mean, he's incredible. This guy, what he's done the first 3 games of the season so far. So you look for Vegas on that side. But then you go to the Chargers. You've got this young quarterback who's just been, balling out. They've got good receivers, but San Diego's problem. I'm not San Diego. Sorry, the Chargers' problem. Force of habit, San Diego.
Yes.
To me, the Chargers' issue has been they've made every game. If you watched, they've made one like stupid mistake that has cost them points somewhere in the red zone. So the Chargers tonight, in my opinion, cannot afford to make these mistakes. The holdings, the false starts. The offensive pass interference. They've always made errors in the red zone so far. So to me, the Chargers need to step up, play smart football, and if they do, I think they can win tonight.
Yeah, that's like I said, that's my pick. I picked them from the beginning. I picked the Chargers over the Raiders. I just I just like everything that could happen for them because it seemed like they're making things happen. As in, if
Right.
you look at the Raiders, a lot of it is it's luck to a certain degree. Then, like I said, you throw the ball, you're throwing it 40 times. Like right now, if you really think about the yardage that Carr is throwing,
Mm-hmm.
he's like number 5, and he only did 3 games.
Right.
Like everybody that played their games, he's still ranked 5. That's a lot of throwing early, and so but when you have it situations like that, that means you're gonna stop the clock. That means you're giving the Chargers opportunity.
Exactly, exactly. And the typical John Gruden offense has always been based on the run. If you look at it for years and years and years, don't get me wrong. Derek Carr, he's finally getting his chance to really shine this year, in my opinion. Finally getting a chance to throw the ball, finally getting a chance to really run the offense that he wants to run. But yeah, if Jacobs is back, even if Jacobs gets 10 touches tonight, it'll still even out their offense a little more. Which if you got to keep the San Diego offense, off the field, in my opinion. I think Joey Bosa is a big key for the defense for San Diego. Just being able to get in there, stop the front seven, be able to clog the middle, get a little pressure on Carr. Because there was one play against the Dolphins. I remember where Carr was being pressured, and finally was able to cave into the pressure. So to me, if Bosa can clog the middle if San Diego can contain Waller, they should have a chance. And I'm a little bit of a gambling man, so I would definitely take the 3.5 points, and the Chargers in my opinion. So
Yes, yes.
you know, so the official pick for Bring It is the Chargers minus 3.5. That's the final line. So we'll see what happens. We'll get a little score update as we go along. But great day in the NFL yesterday. The first game we have to talk about is your Tampa Bay Buccaneers visiting the New England Patriots. Tom Brady comes home. NBC had all these videos of coming home and all that stuff. Let's talk about the game in a minute. Let's first talk about the whole buildup between Brady and Belichick and what happened during the week, and how, to me, it was over publicized a little bit. I thought, the press had a much better time with it, and they didn't really stick to the game. They made it all about those two guys. But just talk about, the buildup and how it came across to you.
I mean, it's what you expected. It was that conversation. Like, if you have it, you talk about it all the time. It was, which one came first, the chicken or the egg?
Right.
So when you look at it, it's like, okay, is it Bill or is it Tom Brady? Where you have some people say, nah, it's all about the coaching. It was Bill, 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 Bill. Then you have others on the other hand saying, no, it's Brady, Brady, Brady. And you're talking about, what, 20 years together?
Right.
Like 20 years, that's a long time. A lot of Super Bowl wins. And so anybody that always said with Tom Brady, he was a system quarterback. It was Bill's system. It's the Patriots way. So, and then they broke up. Both of them don't really talk too much about the breakup, or they don't really say too much. They just keep that, hey, he made a choice, he made a decision. I feel like that was best for me and everything else. So everybody's just doing that he say, she say. Well, the book's finna come out. Well, the book said this about a situation, or I was an ex teammate, and this is what happened, or email or a text. So I think that's what really hyped it up, because if you really think about it, there weren't really many stories for that Sunday football, but
Right.
that.
No, it's true. It's true. There weren't a lot of big stories, so this was definitely the focus of the week. But in my opinion, I mean, people have been saying, oh, as you said, Brady is a system quarterback, but he proved last year that he's not a system quarterback. But let's talk about that for a minute, because a system quarterback is the system that's built around the quarterback and his skill set. So did Tampa Bay build a system around Brady and his skill set last season, or did he just have better weapons and a better offensive scheme than Bill and the Patriots were ever letting him do? As Josh McDaniel was the offensive coordinator for years and years and years. Was he essentially saying to Brady, keep it short, because the Patriots running game for those 20 years was mostly a lot of dink and dunk passing, 5 yards, 6 yards passing. They never had a big running game. It was always about the short passes, almost kind of like that West Coast offense of the 90s that the 49ers were running, if you remember that. So it's kind of like a hybrid of that. But in my opinion, when it comes down to it, if for me to make the choice right now, I still say it's all about coaching, because Belichick gave Brady the chance 20 years ago. Brady fell into the system, fell in the right place, right time, right coaching, so was able to develop his skill sets. For a coach to develop a skill set for 20 years and then have the success he's had, you got to put it on the coach more than the player. I mean, maybe 51-49. You know what I'm saying?
No, man, I had this argument all the time. I think it's a little bit of. Here's the difference when we talk about this all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody say, "Oh, well, he came to Tampa, so he has all these athletes, all these skill players." But you got to realize that's what Tampa drafted.
Right.
They did a good job in the draft. Other than Gronk and AB, everybody else is pretty much they drafted or signed.
Right.
You go back and now you look at the Patriots. What is Bill's knock? He sucks as a GM. He can't draft, and he can't really get free agents. The free agents he got, they just came because they want to play for Tom. Because at least when I got Tom Brady on my team, I got a chance.
Right.
So I would say at the beginning, first 2-3 years, yes. But after that, when you have a quarterback that takes pay cuts, that's clearly top two, even in his early years, it was either him or Peyton. He still wasn't the highest paid quarterback.
Right.
So he took pay cuts, which Bill benefited from that.
Right.
Like if you look right now, Bill got what he spent over $500 million on free agents now as we speak. So
Right.
by doing you did that, but look what you got now. You're not even talking about playoffs because you want to blame it on the rookie quarterback, but you got guys that still can't beat the one-on-one coverage.
Right. No, no, that is true. And that actually leads us into the actual game analysis from last night. Patriots win 1917. I'm sorry, Buccaneers win 1917. Patriots had a chance to win the game with a little less than a minute left on a 56-yard field goal. Went off the uprights. So Brady walks into his old house, comes out with it, squeaks out a victory in typical Brady fashion. Somehow squeaks it out. It was interesting. He gets on the field. He gets all these cheers. Crowd's going crazy. As soon as the game started, the first time he walked down the field, they booed him like crazy, like typical home fans do. So it was good to see that. They're like, all right, welcome home, but you're still the opponent. We're going to boo you. So, that was definitely a good thing. But the game itself, to me, I mean, it was a good game. It wasn't a well-played game, partially because of the weather. But partially in general, I think Brady was a little nervous on the field. I mean, there were some throws that he made that weren't typical Brady throws. Overthrows, underthrows. Wasn't as accurate. And it could have been with the weather. What was your take in general of the game itself?
No, I think at the very beginning, I want to say probably a quarter and a half. I was like, ooh, he treating this bigger than the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was like you can tell how even he was walking around and that look, it was like, oh, he was hesitant to pull the trigger on some throws. And then I think a little bit of weather also because it was raining, and because you see a lot of the balls he thrown that they were high, either
Right.
high or they were real low. But I agree with you. I think he made it big because I guess the difference is when you go to the Super Bowl, they talk about all kinds of crap.
Right.
So then when it was about him for 7 days. It was Brady, Belichick, Brady, Bill, Brady, Bill, Brady, Bill. So he was asking a lot of questions, his family about his relationship with Bill, his
Right.
relationship with the Patriots. So I think it kind of got to him at the beginning. And then, like you said, they did the little cheering. They had the little videos up for him. He probably shed a little tear deep down inside. So I think it was very emotional for him.
No, definitely, definitely. And you could see the progress in the Patriots system. I mean, Mac Jones he's gonna be a player. He's gonna be a player. He's one of the few rookies who's actually playing well, adjusting to the system, using his weapons that he's allotted, of course. But the Patriots completely abandoned the run last night. If you saw that, completely just abandoned it. I think they rushed the maybe 6-7 times the whole entire game.
Yeah,
They had minus 1 yard rushing. It was crazy. Absolutely, just abandoned it.
but you have to.
Yeah, I mean they had to.
If you really think about it, Tampa's ranked what top 2, top 3 in rush defense. But you look at it, especially on that last drive, and if you really go back and look, Dominican Sue was playing linebacker.
Yes.
Like he was in linebacker dropping in coverage. So like because you lost 2 guys that day. You were five guys out of the secondary down. Sherman signed Wednesday.
Yeah.
He was playing that Sunday. So why would you not throw it on them?
I know, and Sherman had to play at the last minute because one of their guys in the secondary got hurt. So Sherman got in there, and I mean he's a veteran. He knows what to do. He's like, all right, I'm playing left side, playing right side. He knows how to cover, so that kind of thing. And it's interesting to see those two teams against each other. I mean, to me, Tampa's a good squad. As long as they stay healthy, they can keep moving up. I mean, they're in a pretty weak conference, pretty weak division if you ask me. The NFC South is pretty weak. So was this a true showing of what Tampa's about? No, because as you said, the weather definitely played a factor. The whole hype, the whole nervousness of being back in New England. But they play the Giants, my team, this week, and I expect them to completely blow us out. So I'm not that hopeful this week, to be honest.
Yeah, they're gonna. It's the good thing about playing what they went through. First off, the week before they went to play the Rams. That was the Rams Super Bowl.
Right.
Here's the fact they showed the goose egg just the following week.
Exactly.
They had a Super Bowl hangover. Then they went to New England and played. So one thing about it, you can't say that shows that they're at least two of the toughest areas to play in. That they're worthy, they're learning, and they're growing. So that'd be great, good for the playoffs.
Right.
Like you said, they're getting now defensively. They just playing games, trying to figure everything out. Offensively, it's just for them. Tampa Bay is just honest, like you said. It's all about getting healthy. As long
Right.
as you can get healthy at the end, they'll be fine. So that's the most important.
Exactly. Exactly. All right. So Tampa wins by 2 and moves on. The next game we're going to talk about is Pittsburgh and Green Bay. Now, this is definitely a tale of two cities because week one, everyone's like, "Uh-oh, Aaron Rodgers is not into this. He's just going to mail it in. He's going to tank. The Packers aren't going to be anything." They've turned it up the last 2 weeks. They play a Pittsburgh team, which reputably has been a good team, solid. But this year, Pittsburgh is not the same Pittsburgh we've seen, and I think it's all points to Ben Roethlisberger being done and no one realizing it, even in that front office, even in that coaching staff, saying, "Ben, you're done. You shouldn't be playing anymore." I mean, he looks terrible if you ask me. I mean, he had one or two good throws, but he's immobile. He's like a statue in the pocket. I mean, Pittsburgh is killing themselves by having Ben in there. I mean, what do you think?
That's a hard question, and I say that because I think Tomlin, if he knew that the other two quarterbacks was better than Ben, I think he would pull Ben.
Right,
I think he says his best chance to win is Ben. Ben to give you something. Now I watched the game and Ben, he was, of course, but he's never been mobile. He's always
right,
been a statue. He's just older now, and it's even slower. But I just think you gotta ride with him because if he's the best quarterback in practice, he's the best quarterback that you have in the games. Because if you switch him and you put Rudolph in or Dwayne Haskins and they don't do good, now you're in trouble. What you gonna
right,
do? Go back to him because you're pretty much saying, "Hey, season done." I mean, it's week 4.
right,
You're 1-3. But good thing about it is TJ Watts came back. He looked good. The
right.
defense is gonna get healthy. I think they're gonna rely more on the defense because they're coming back healthy. They just got they just try look. They're not trying to win the division. We're just trying to get a wild card and let's see what happens.
Right. No, no, that is true. And your point about the fact that they don't have a decent backup is definitely it's definitely substantial because I mean, I look at it as if you don't have faith in your backup, obviously you can't pull your starter. Mason Rudolph has had a couple years in the system, hasn't really proven himself. Dwayne Haskins has been, nothing but a disappointment since he came out of college. And I'm kind of disappointed because I liked him in college. I thought he was going to come out and be a good pro. I mean, maybe his experience in Washington wasn't positive. I mean, I don't know what's going on in Pittsburgh on the practice field, but they don't seem to have a lot of faith in either of those guys, as you said. So they definitely have a rebuilding in front of them. Although they do have, and we'll talk about Green Bay in one more minute, but they do have their running back, their rookie running back, that Najee Harris out of Alabama. That's a big boy. That's a power back. I could see him really playing well, building in that typical Pittsburgh vein of those solid running backs. I mean, he can ball. He can definitely
Yes,
ball.
yes.
He's big. He comes out of that Nick Saban system. How could you not play in the NFL?
No, I agree with you. I agree with you a lot. He can run it. He can catch it. I don't know. They just got to figure out a way to play the Ben strengths and not
Right.
get in the third and longs. Let's try to get
Exactly.
third medium. Let throw screens, throw flares to the running back, just check downs and just run it.
Right. Yeah. The third and long. I mean, it kills every team, but especially an immobile quarterback like Ben. Having to air it out. I mean, you've got Juju and Deontay Johnson on the wings. You've got good receivers, but yeah, that's not going to be a good year in Pittsburgh. It's going to be the first losing season, in my opinion, that Tomlin will have. And I mean, he's not going to lose his job because Pittsburgh doesn't fire coaches. Coaches retire in Pittsburgh. but they'll definitely all of a sudden the press will put him on the hot seat, which to me would be wrong. I mean, it's 1 year; give the guy a break, you know. So now, as far as the Packers go, Packers are starting to really roll. Devontae Adams is arguably the best receiver in the NFL, in my opinion. Aaron Rodgers is proving that he's the man, and he's basically like, come get me, come prove to me that I'm not the man. I've always been an Aaron Rodgers hater, to be honest, but I got to respect his game this season. He's been like, you know what, I'm just going to show you guys what I can do. And I mean, what happened in the first game, that was a freak thing at this point, because you've seen how well they've progressed. So just, Green Bay offense is clicking, Their Adam Jones, their running back, is playing. I mean, he's playing like a guy possessed. He's got his father literally in his pocket. I mean, I don't know if you read this week. He's got his father's ashes on a chain, and they built a pocket in his uniform so he can keep it with him at all times. So his father is guiding him up the field. I mean, Green Bay now looks like that they're on a mission now to prove everybody wrong. And Aaron Rodgers, I could still see him leaving after the season, but I think he's looking to win this thing, if you ask me.
Yes. I think, and for Aaron Rodgers, I think the first two games was preseason games,
right?
To a certain degree, because he didn't do preseason, and I know the NFC West, not West. I'm sorry, the North is terrible.
Yeah.
So even how he looks at it, he's like, okay, I can lose this game, but I can come back. I can beat the Lions. I can beat the Bears, and I can beat the Vikings. And then win with maybe three non-conference games, I'll make playoffs. We win the division.
Right.
So for him, everybody again, it's that first week. Aaron Rodgers went like that, so everybody media is just trying to start some mess. Really, just get some stuff going, because it's not really. If you really think about it, it's not really too much you can talk about. Like you get a lot of people really just trying to scrape up and find stuff, because the teams that are supposed to win is winning. Of course, Kansas City is giving you this chance, but I really truly believe the Packers' offense is going to be fine. Now the defense, they can't stop nobody.
Right.
That's where it's going to be like, oh my gosh, for them, because they can't stop anybody. The offense, man, you got two of the top 5 best players in a position on your team. You can say even the running back, if you want to say 3. So you're fine. You got that 3-headed monster on offense.
Yeah, exactly. No, Green Bay is definitely starting to click. Aaron Rodgers is starting to get his timing down. So, that I mean, and they are in a very weak division. As you said, the North. I mean, the Lions are terrible. The Bears are rebuilding. The Bears are a soap opera in itself. So to me, it's to me, it's like, what is going on there. But Justin Fields is for another show. And then as far as Minnesota goes, Minnesota, they look good one week, they look terrible the next. It's really, really hard to tell what's going on with them. So we will see what happens. All right, let's move on to America's team, supposedly, the Dallas Cowboys versus Carolina. Carolina came in at 3-0. Dallas came in at 2-1, and now both teams are at 3-1. Carolina is without Christian McCaffrey and the rookie J.C. Horn, and it kind of proved itself yesterday, because Carolina did not run the ball very much. Darnold had to throw. They made 40 attempts, had 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. That Dallas defense, they let up some garbage time points at the end, but overall they seemed to really dominate. Micah Parsons is my pick for defensive rookie of the year. He is just balling out. I mean, he was a steal for them, and the fact that he landed in their lap, Jerry Jones was probably like, oh, this is the guy, because they needed to replace that middle linebacker, and they replaced him. Parsons is balling out. But all the Dak Prescott doubters, you better stop talking, because Dak Prescott is here to play. Prescott is over his injury. He's got weapons. He's got everything he needs. Ezekiel Elliott's starting to really run the ball well. I mean, I know, as much as it pains us to talk well about the Cowboys, you can't really say anything negative about them right now.
No, you can't. They're good. Hey, I think, like I said, I'm with you, Parsons. And then right now, it's a runner-up or 1A, 1B. you got to say Diggs that corner because
Mm-hmm.
he's going. He got 5 interceptions. He's going against the best. Whoever
Yes.
they putting him on him. So Dak, I think Dak he's older. He's mature now. I think the injury might have helped him because now he's more smarter of when to run, when to go down, live to fight another day. So I think he looks good, and that's what's so crazy. It's crazy down here. They hate Dak in Texas.
Yeah.
They give Dak the blues. But I'm like, man, he's done more than Tony Romo. But they praise Tony, but they hate Dak. I never understood it, but I always thought Dak was a good quarterback.
And I always thought Tony Romo was very overrated. So
Yes.
I don't know where the love for Tony Romo is. I don't I never got it. I never understood it. I don't even care for him as a color commentator, to be honest. It's
Oh, don't.
very hard to listen to him.
You can't say that. You can't say that down here, boy. They love Tony. Tony's the man.
I don't know. Well, I mean, what? How many playoff games did he win? Like one. So
No,
it's like
he won 0.
I know exactly. So it's just ridiculous. I mean, I think if they can keep Prescott healthy, I definitely see them see them succeeding. I definitely see them moving forward. It's Trayvon Diggs had 2 interceptions yesterday. So I mean, come on, he's just with Diggs and Parsons in that defense. And they also play in a very weak conference because I mean the Eagles are clearly rebuilding. Washington, although this kid Heineke is playing well, but still I don't know about them. They got a weak schedule, and the Giants. I mean, we won yesterday, but I'm not excited yet. We'll see what happens in a couple weeks. So right now you got to give it really a big edge to Dallas. Although Carolina might surprise some people because Carolina's, and I was looking at their schedule earlier and. Let me see if I can pull up Carolina's schedule because I think if you look at their schedule, even without McCaffrey, they have a chance of succeeding. They play okay. Let's see if I can share this. I've never done this before. We're trying something new. Yeah, that is true, Tony. Tony was very overrated. Dak has done a lot of his ability to adapt over bad plays, significantly better than what Romo has done. Diggs is a growing star. Yes, you are absolutely correct.
Yes.
You are absolutely correct. Okay, yeah, here. I figured out how to do this. All right. So, did it work? Oh no, I can't. I'm not allowed to do that. Oh, there it is. Okay, yeah. So look at the side of the screen here. The next couple games that Carolina plays, they play the Eagles, the Vikings. They're out the Giants. They're out the Falcons. And then they play the Patriots. So reasonably, they could go 3-2 and be 6-3, and midway through the season. So I think that gives Carolina somewhat of a decent shot of making the playoffs.
I think honestly, truthfully, the one thing about the Cowboys that I'm really worried about, I think it's just clock management with the head coach. I think that'd be one of the biggest things that might mess them up. And if you really go back and you look at it, it's kind of one of those things what happened when you went and you played against the Bucks. You gave Brady a little bit too much time. You could have milked a little bit more if you were smart with it. So I think that's one thing that might hurt them in the long run.
Right.
But Carolina, I think they're just like Tampa Bay. They just got the injury bug, especially in the secondary. A lot of guys have been out. They'd be fine. That's my sleeper pick to go make it to the playoffs this year. I like Sam Darnold. I said it from the beginning. By him getting with Brady, Brady makes things happen for him.
Yes.
He's great. He knows how to teach him. He knows how to teach quarterbacks to be a quarterback. He likes to throw vertical, which what Sam Darnold needs and wants. And also he's using his skill set to run the ball. I mean, he has 5 or 6 touchdowns this year,
right?
Yeah.
No. Darnold was always look. I liked him coming out of college. When the Jets picked him, I was excited for them. I mean, I grew up in Jersey, so I was a Giant fan. But I always respected Jet fans. I got a lot of good friends who are Jet fans, so I want to see them succeed. So when Darnold wasn't able to succeed, everyone's like, "Oh, look at him! Look at him! Look at him!" No, Darnold has the skill set. He just didn't have the right system and right coaching and well, the Jets are a hot mess anyway. But that's besides the point. And now he proved, even though they beat inferior teams his first 3 weeks, if you look at the way Darnold played and the level he played at, he's definitely proving that he is definitely an NFL quarterback and will succeed in this league. So I'm definitely happy to see that. All right. So right now, just a quick report on the football game. They are in a lightning delay. Yes, there's lightning in Los Angeles. So kickoff has been delayed till 8:55 Eastern. So stick with us and then wait till we're finished, and then you can tune into the game. So definitely stay on the air with us. All right, let's talk a little bit about Denver and Baltimore yesterday. Now, Baltimore to me is one of the mystery teams of the league because they run this hybrid college/pro offense. If you look at the way they run the ball, if you look at the way Jackson runs the ball, and they're running back by committee, which is so thin right now because of injuries, you wonder like how are they going to play? Oh, hey Tony, there's our producer Tony. What's up, Tony?
How's it going, gentlemen?
How are you? All right. Before we move on to this, I know you're a Cowboys fan, right?
Die hard.
All right, so let's get your take on the Cowboys yesterday. How do you think they're progressing as a team? Playing a decent Carolina defense, they seem to really dominate and seem to be just faster than everybody on the field.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I kind of agree with what Coach said and what you mentioned earlier, too. The biggest thing that honestly has me worried is the coaching. Honestly, this defense has gotten better. I figured that it would get better. I didn't figure it would be – I don't really want to say as good as it's been this year, but they have been actually pretty decent. I only put them maybe to go up to about 17th or 18th overall as far as average defense. But yeah, I think head coaching is really going to be the biggest thing that gets in their way. The fact that now they've figured out how to utilize Zeke as more of the power back to wear that defense down. You can use Pollard, the explosiveness. Even with Michael Gallup being out, you still have Amari Cooper that's kind of in and out of the lineup. CeeDee Lamb has still been pretty solid. Then this whole tight end by committee has been solid too.
Yes, yes. Well, the Cowboys notorious for years. Have always. I mean, going back to the '80s, have always had solid tight end play. So to go from I'm drawing a blank on who their tight end was in there, but if we go that to Jason Witten to these guys, I mean, that's always been a Cowboy thing.
I think Jay Novacek was. I know he was for the 90s.
Yes,
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. But I mean, really, to no discredit of Carolina, though, I mean, really, this was the first game all year that they've trailed at all, and Carolina has beat, they beat Houston. Houston is kind of, just Houston itself, but they beat a up and down Saints team and a Saints team that honestly had Carolina flopped. I think the Saints could have just been rolling just purely off of that Packers win. I agree with Coach. I think it's a little bit of injury. And I think it's a little bit that they're just young. If you guys remember last year, they were super competitive in games. They were just young and they couldn't really finish. I think this is a team that you give them about 2 more years, and they are very much going to be a threat in not only the NFC South, but I would say the NFC as a whole.
Yeah, the key to Carolina, as it's proving, is how do you keep McCaffrey healthy? I mean, every year he gets hurt. I mean, that's the key, and I mean, teams are proving it all along. When they're if you go through the season, health is the key to. I mean, look, the NFL is a rough league, guys. Sacrificing their bodies, but you got to stay healthy to succeed in this league. So, definitely. Cool. Tony, if you want to hang out, join the rest of the show, please feel free. All right, so let's move back on. We're talking about Baltimore and Denver. So, Coach, where are you at with this Baltimore offense, the way they run the offense? I mean, can they sustain it and maybe finally get over that hump? Because they seem to get to a point and then they can't get over the hump come playoff time.
I think they can get to the playoffs, and I think it's whoever they play. That's really the biggest problem is going to be with them, because they have to be able to throw the football. You got to be able to throw the football with them, and then you got to make sure Lamar is healthy, because right now I think Lamar, he's trying to do more than what he's usually doing, because the simple fact of the matter, they don't have a solid running game. The receivers is 50-50 because he can throw them the ball. Either he might overthrow them or they just might drop it. So it's kind of like it's still a bind for it's hard for Lamar. But again, it's who they play in the playoffs. Like I think if they play the Browns in the playoffs, they have a good chance. I think if you have to play Kansas City again, can't see them winning it the second time, because it was just a luck. They just fumbled at the end. So I think they can win their first playoff game, but I don't see them making to the AFC Championship nor Super Bowl.
No, well, and it's interesting, talking about keeping Lamar Jackson healthy. You also someone's got to teach him how to not hold the ball out here and put it down here in his gut, because he's always running, he's always at the ball out, and he's always, that's what causes those fumbles that Lamar Jackson has. So Tony, I mean, where do you see Baltimore going? That they yesterday they actually tied a record for most 100-yard games, consecutive 100-yard games. I think it's 44, if I'm correct.
43.
But 43, right? So they're looking to break the record last week, and there was some controversy about how they did it in the last 3 seconds, but we can talk about that in a minute. So, this Baltimore, this hybrid college offense, almost, if you look at it, coach is talking about throwing the ball, and they do throw the ball, but it was last week that Hollywood Brown had 2 balls right in his arms, and he just completely dropped them. So they've got to get him some stickum, a la, the Raiders of the 80s. I mean, you guys are a little young for that probably, but but yeah. So Tony, where do you sit with Baltimore right now?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what Coach said. The wide receivers is really the biggest thing that's kind of holding Lamar back. They got Sammy Watkins. This is kind of Sammy Watkins' last time of really showing that he's a number 1 wide receiver after kind of being a journeyman now for the last couple of years. And, for him, if you look at last week, and I think even the week before that, I know for a fact in that Kansas City game, if you watched, he had 2 passes hit him right in the hands that he just dropped. And, you can't do that if you're the number 1 wide receiver. And kind of the same with Hollywood Brown. We know Hollywood Brown is a deep threat. He was that way. I don't know how much of y'all watched a lot of the Oklahoma Sooners when he was with them.
Yeah.
He was great on the deep ball. But yeah, you can't have that 50-50, especially when, that's always the question that everybody brings up with Lamar is, can he throw the ball? No, he can throw the ball. We've seen him throw the ball. He can. But the fact of will his receivers catch the ball is the thing. That's why he's always having to go to Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews is his only, I would say, safe and reliable target that he knows is going to catch the ball. And kind of the same thing. I would say Baltimore is probably one of those teams that has been eaten by the injury bug worse than Tampa Bay. I mean, all of their running backs are out. One of their top cornerbacks is out. That defense is a little old. You can kind of show that defense has been put together. Kind of like Coach said, I think if they go into the playoffs, depending on who they face, I don't know if they beat a Kansas City. They might, just because Kansas City's defense right now is also terrible this year.
Right.
But yeah, I think for them, they need to try to find a running back. You have Le'Veon Bell. I can't remember who their other number 1 running back that they're using right now is, but they need to find some type of lanes to get them to work. And I also think that the Orlando Brown trade actually hurt them more than it benefited them in this past offseason too.
No, definitely agree with your points, no doubt. Let's switch over to Denver real quick. Teddy Bridgewater gets hurt. Drew Lock comes in. Denver looks like a completely different team. So to me, this proves 2 points. Teddy Bridgewater is better than people think he is, and you got to give Teddy Bridgewater much more credit. And 2, John Elway completely missed the ball on drafting Drew Lock and putting his faith in Lock even as a backup. So Tony, Denver, I mean, they look good the first 3 games, and then yesterday, I mean, part of it is Baltimore's defense, but part of it, obviously, once again, quarterback play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd agree. And, like you said, Teddy is one of those, I don't think Teddy has really been given a fair shot in the NFL. You look at when he was with Minnesota was not a bad team. He kept them in every game in Minnesota. He has that devastating knee injury. Minnesota ends up trading him away. I think he went to the Jets, if I remember right, was with them for the offseason. The Jets traded him to New Orleans. He backed up Breeze, took the Saints 5-0 in Breeze's stand. Then went to Carolina last year. Now he's with Denver. So yeah, I think significantly the quarterback play is better. We know John Elway. This isn't West Virginia. This ain't country roads.
Very good. That was very good. I like that.
Thank you. But yeah, we know John Elway can't draft quarterbacks. Ever since, you probably even before Peyton Manning, you had Jay Cutler, you traded him away to the Bears. You had Kyle Orton. Kyle Orton didn't really work out. Then you get Tim Tebow. Whatever the stigma was against Tim Tebow that you didn't like him, you got rid of Tim to bring in Peyton, which if I have to pick between Tim and Peyton, yeah, I'm probably going to go Peyton too. I don't really blame him on that one. And I know a lot of people are going to say the quality of Denver's opponents that they face. I mean, a win is still a win. We saw the Titans yesterday still lose to the Jets. So, I mean, this is still professional football. It's any given Sunday, no matter how you look at it. I think that defense is still very formidable that we watch. And offensively, they have the weapons. They're just a quarterback away. I think, unfortunately, the longer Teddy is out, the more in danger Denver is of sinking, especially in probably the toughest division, in my opinion, in the AFC West just this year. It's going to be hard.
That is true. That is true. So, Coach, you talked about Denver's defense. So, can Denver's defense hold up? And I don't want to use the word carry them, but almost kind of support them, until Teddy comes back, considering how tough a division they play in?
No, I don't really think they can, because guess what? If that was the case, you might as well go the last 2 years. What you see is what you're going to get with them. The reason, one thing about Teddy is, and you hear me, I say it all the time, Teddy check down. He's going to check it down. He's not going to risk it. He's going to look, okay, I could throw it here, get 4 or 5 yards, or I could throw it away, and then I can live to see another day. He will never, and I think that's the one knock about Teddy. He doesn't take chances. Like his QBRs will always be high. His touchdown, the interceptions is always going to be far apart from each other. And that's what they needed in Denver. They needed someone to just milk the clock, take your time. We do a little bit here, do a little bit there. If we kick a field goal, we're good, because we're going to play defense. That's what that coach wants to do. He wants to play defense. That's why he drafted a DB in the first round. We want to play lockdown. We want to release them boys and go make plays. But you put, what's his name? If Teddy's hurt, you're going to see what you've seen the last 2 years.
Right.
He's going to just throw it out, throw an interception. He's just going to try to, I can fit in there. I'm stronger. My arm's strong enough.
Right.
And they're going to be in the same predicament.
No, that's true. That's true. I do like Patrick Surtain Jr., their draft choice. I think he's going to be a real star in this league. I like the way he's playing. I think he's in a good system for him. So that's good. There's a couple little quick other NFL notes. Both the Jets and Giants get off the schneid yesterday, both winning in overtime. It was the first time since 2015 that both New York teams played and won in overtime in the same game. So that was a little point. Kansas City breaks their 2-game losing streak and beats Philadelphia 42-30. Philadelphia is, to me, it's just a hot mess right now. They're not really sure what they're doing down there. And basically, the Rams, as we talked about earlier, have their Super Bowl against Tampa and then get smoked by Arizona. So we'll just talk about that real quickly. Arizona looks like the fastest team in the league to me right now. They are just quick. And I mean, Coach, how do you stop that kind of speed?
Well, after looking at it, and we talk about it all the time, it's that run and shoot. That's what he likes to do. He likes to throw the ball out of the field. The thing that really helped them, especially yesterday, I mean, they ran the ball 30-some times.
Right.
Usually it's the opposite. Usually he probably runs it like at least 10, 15 times. So I guess he's kind of not Kiffin. God, that was his name. The head coach for the Chargers. The Cardinals.
Yeah, I'm trying to blank on his name too.
Oh, what's his
name? The guy from Texas Tech.
Yeah,
Brandon Staley.
No,
the head coach of the Cardinals.
Cliff Kingsbury.
Thank you.
Yeah, Kingsbury. I couldn't think of his name to save my life. I went straight blank. But think about it. What he does, he likes to throw it. He doesn't really. He's not a running guy.
Right.
He goes all across the field. So I think he's realizing for us to win, we have to be able to run the ball. So he's still trying to give at least 20, 25 carries. Yes. And I think that's the biggest improvement of this year to last year. Because if you're not, your quarterback, it takes one good hit, he's out, because he's 5'8", 185.
Yeah, 185 soaking wet. Exactly.
Yeah. He's a winner. He's a winner. Like I said, I watched him down here, and he won 4 state championships in 6A football.
Right.
So he's a winner. But
yeah, and then and you were talking, Tony, about Hollywood Brown in Oklahoma. So you saw Kyler Murray playing in Oklahoma too. So,
Yes, it is.
he, we've had a couple of Boomer Sooner quarterbacks come out, be able to run. Although it seems like Kyler Murray it is the real deal, and I think, and this might be a weird correlation, but I think because of his baseball experience, I think he's able to see the field and control the ball a little better. I mean, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I definitely agree because if you look at him, he kind of plays like a baseball player. A lot of these guys have that football mentality of, I have to use muscle, I have to overpower, the defense to be able to beat them. To me, Kyler Murray almost kind of reminds me, and it's going to sound bad, but he kind of reminds me of how Vic used to play. Vic used to just be smart with you. He could either pick you apart cerebrally by throwing the ball, or he could just beat you with his legs. And that just kind of shows. And it shows in his gameplay. It shows how he's able to slide to get the first down. He's not really willing to take those hits, and I think that's going to save his career longevity-wise. And as far as beating that, and Coach can correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, to me, the best thing you can do, you have to have a strong running game. You have to beat their defense down because you can't get into a shootout with that team. You have DeAndre Hopkins, one of the best wide receivers in the game, if not the best. You have Christian Kirk, who's a fast slot receiver guy, and then you have AJ Green, who a lot of people were like, he's old, he's done. He didn't really do much his last year in Cincinnati. He's still a big body wide receiver that can still bully people as well. Is he going to beat you downfield with speed? No, but he's going to bully you in the red zone. And then just that defense. You've got Budda Baker, you've got Murphy Jr., you have J.J. Watt, helping just at least lead the pass rush with Chandler Jones. So, I mean, really, your best bet is if I'm a defensive coordinator, I'm doing two safeties deep to help prevent that deep ball attack, and then I want my linebackers to be fast in order to get these Kylers, to get these Christian Kirks, to be able to help stop or at least slow down the Cardinals' offense.
All right, so you hear that, Coach Shanahan? You're playing the Cardinals next week. So Tony says that's your defensive scheme. This is what you need to do. I just want to look at the Cardinals in the next 4 games. They play. They're at home against the Niners. They're in Cleveland, about a 4:05 start, not a 1:05. They're at home against the Texans, and then a short week, and then they play Thursday night at home against the Packers. I mean, I could feasibly see them definitely going 3-1 in this span, and then they'll end up being 7-1 come the middle of the season and probably have at least a 1 or a 2 game lead on that division. So, Coach, I mean, at this point, and our network's Jay Ness will definitely agree with me. Are the Cardinals at 4-0? Would you say the Cardinals are for real, or are they still a little bit of a paper tiger?
I still got to put them in the paper tiger. It's a long season. Mm-hmm. And what you gotta realize, there's gonna be a time is how you respond to adversity. Like there's not a team that's gonna go win, just blow everybody out. That was what the Patriots long time ago. So when they hit that adversity, now the question is how are they gonna truly respond? Now the question is gonna be, because if you really think about it, they should have lost to the Vikings. Dude missed the field goal. I think 35-yard field goal.
Yeah.
So it's when the offense is not clicking, can the defense withstand and hold and get some stops? That's gonna be the question. I mean, I have them. They'll make the playoffs, but I don't see them again. That's not one of the teams I can see with that style working over time. Because it's the run and shoot, man. I haven't seen it in the NFL, and you got to realize especially when you get to the playoffs, you have to face the Rams. You're gonna have to face the Bucks, and those are 2 good teams that's gonna stop the run. Now, what you gonna do? Now you got to run around. That's the one thing that I'm worried about, that he gets too pass happy if they stop the run game at the very beginning and say, hey, we got to throw it.
No, that's very. It'll be interesting how they can just definitely sustain. We're getting towards the end here, but I do want to get a little baseball talk here involved. I do want to talk about the Major League Baseball playoffs. And is this going to work? Yeah, there it is. All right, there's our bracket. Tomorrow we got the AL wildcard game, a classic matchup, Boston and New York. Me growing up in New Jersey, this was like always, huge. Yankees, Red Sox, Yankees, going back to 1978. Bucky Dent, hitting that ball over the last game of the season. But this is a win and you're in, loser goes home kind of game. So, both teams kind of got in yesterday by the seat of their pants. Yankees win on a walk-off. The Red Sox had to come back against Washington to win. So just quick little take and prediction, Coach, on this game tomorrow.
Who did they say was pitching for the Yankees?
Garrett Cole's pitching for the Yankees. Nathan Eovaldi's pitching for the Red Sox. The game's in Boston.
Man, I'm a Boston. If it's baseball, I'm a Boston fan. I like the Red Sox.
And it's funny. Cole has had some injury issues the last couple of weeks. His last two starts, he's been kind of weak. But something in my heart tells me that come playoff time, Cole's had a couple extra days to rest. They plan for him to pitch this game. I think he's going to be ready. And as our show says, I think he's going to bring it tomorrow. So I do like the Yankees in a close one, but I do like the Yankees.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with. I'm with you, sir. I'm gonna have to go with these Yankees.
All right. And then in the NL game on Wednesday night, you have a huge pitching matchup. Max Scherzer, who is the odds-on favorite to win the NL Cy Young, against the always playoff-tested and always successful Adam Wainwright. The game is in Los Angeles. The Dodgers won 106 games this year and yet still finished second to the San Francisco Giants. So, and the Cardinals just came off a 19-game winning streak. So both teams have been kind of streaky this last month. But to me, it comes down to pitching. And to me, for some reason, I just see, Scherzer being able to outpitch Wainwright just because Wainwright's 40, Scherzer's a little younger. The game's in Los Angeles, the feel of the crowd. I get to see the Dodgers winning. What about you?
Yes, I have the Dodgers. I have the Dodgers taking it.
All right, cool. So we're basically saying that the Yankees and the Dodgers are gonna move forward. So just taking a quick look at this bracket, the other matchups, the White Sox and the Astros, in the AL, the Braves and the Milwaukee Brewers, which is kind of interesting because the Braves used to play in Milwaukee years ago, so it's kind of a little back and forth on that. But I mean, honestly, the Braves pitching has been kind of suspect all season, but they just squeaked by in a weak division. Milwaukee losing their relief pitcher who hurt himself celebrating is a huge loss for them. So if anything, I think the NL is going to come down to the winner of the San Francisco LA division series. What do you think about that?
No, I truly, I'm with you on that. I think the pitcher loss is a big loss. I think Atlanta's still they're kind of young, but the Dodgers got way more experience in the postseason.
Yes.
So I like the Dodgers going all the way.
And the Dodgers had an injury yesterday. Max Muncy got hurt. He hyperextended his elbow on a play at first base. So it looks like Albert Pujols is going to have to play. So hopefully Pujols can hit a home run because if you've seen him run lately, I mean, I run faster than him and I'm slow as hell. Yes.
Hey, that's the thing. He said he ain't got to run. I just got to try to run the bases.
Exactly.
I just got to try, baby.
All right. So, yeah, definitely. So I definitely, the winner of Frisco and LA, I definitely could see them advancing to the World Series. I don't have an official prediction yet, but we'll see what happens over the weekend. The White Sox and the Astros, Tony La Russa is had like the fountain of youth. He's 77 years old, but he came in. And even with all the controversy from his personal life, he came in and the White Sox won their division. They won the division by the most games out of any division winner in the league. The Astros are always hated for what happened a couple years ago with the cheating scandal, even though all those guys are out. But I could definitely see the White Sox advancing. And to me, I mean, I think Tampa's pitching is just too good. They're experienced. They're going to have, even though they don't really have a home field advantage. But the AL's to me is right now is a toss-up, but I could definitely see Tampa Bay and the White Sox advancing.
I have Tampa Bay and the Astros.
Okay. Well, yeah, you're a Texas guy.
Huh?
You're a Texas guy, so okay.
Yeah, so again, it's one of those things. Am I thinking with my head or am I thinking with my heart? And and right now, I'm gonna go with my heart. So.
Right. No, that's totally cool. Now it's interesting you say that because if you think of it in two ways, from a Major League Baseball point of view, they would love to see the Yankees and the White Sox, or the Astros, just because the ratings. Tampa Bay draws nobody to the television screen, so they're rooting against Tampa, and they definitely want one of those California teams to make the World Series. So to me, that's what Major League Baseball is rooting for. But we'll see what happens over tomorrow night. We'll see what happens Wednesday night. We'll see what happens over the weekend, where the division series end up next Monday night. But thank you all for tuning in. Coach, thanks for hanging out. Really appreciate it. And great stuff. Just one last take from you. Anything you want to talk about? You got 30 seconds. Go.
No, sir, man. Just thank you for having me. I had a great time. I can't wait to do it again.
Yeah, we will definitely be back next week. Thank you to our producer, Tony, for chiming in on a little NFL talk. And we will see you guys next week on Bring It. Stay tuned for Real Talk coming up at 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central. And I think the football game has started, so you can watch the football game on your TV on mute, and you can watch Real Talk with the volume up. So we'll see you guys next week.
Whole sports, all plays. Whole sports, all plays. Whole sports, all plays. 365, we making up plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. Whole sports, all plays. Network. Whole sports, all plays. Network. We on top of our game. Whole sports, all plays. Whole sports, all plays.